Okay. Everything good? Everything good? All right. So, how you guys doing? I'm just shoot. Let me see. This thing doesn't fall. All right. Come on, baby. Okay. So today, I wanted to discuss about one of the. Well, I made I kind of had to redo everything. I had to do my website again, and I had to do some challenges that I just had right now. So I'm hoping I can push out more content and hopefully do it in a way where it doesn't affect me, and I can do this more steadily. So today I want to talk about everyday challenges. So one of the most biggest challenges I think for me, and I still do to this day, is failures and setbacks. I've had plenty of those, even today. Now that I'm a young adult and have to figure out most of this new, because again, it's a new stage in life, right? Where it's like you were a child, right? And as a child, you had certain setbacks and failures as well, right? Maybe whether it's in school, whether it's in family situations, I mean, personal situations where, it might have affected you even now. So those are certain things that have, again, set you back, whether again, personal, whether it's like building a relationship, building a business, whether you've withheld your passion or your talents or skills. I definitely had those things. So again, whether we're a child, whether you're in your middle, teens. I mean, I think those are like the biggest challenges, right? Where young adult, maybe no, as a kid you might had a little bit, and then as you mature into your teens, now this is when you start, developing more obstacles, more challenges, as you go on your journey and becoming more of an adult. I definitely had those failures and setbacks. Just like I think most people in school and friends. I mean, those were some failures and setbacks that I not that they set me back, but how would I say it? So, well, yeah, we those things. You might have had the friend and totally gone. Not behind your back, but just it's affected me for sure. Like me in some ways have had a tough way of building relationships and friends. I honestly, I think that's like one of my biggest struggles and the reasons why I've wanted to make videos and content online, because I've had challenges in regards to building friendships into long-lasting friendships. I mean, sure, I've met plenty of people in school and work in outdoor activities, and I know them from those activities, but not as a relationship. Because again, having friends, having boyfriend, girlfriend, all that stuff. I mean, all of that has to commit in some sort of way where my idea is to help each other grow and full kind of sympathize, because I think that's like one of the biggest things that me as a person is I like to understand people and really get to know them, whether they've had struggles, because again, I think that's what makes people, right? There's struggles and challenges and failures and setbacks, because for me, that's just one example of having a life challenge, is like building relationships. I mean, I'm very I don't want to say picky, but particularly selective. I mean, I'm just gonna be even with like with potential partners. I mean, I've met some cute girls, and been at a party or something, and then like, like I've always, like even in the epidemic, like I was making a podcast before this, and I was telling you guys, or I was going to tell you guys that like during this epidemic, like I went to San Jose State. No, not San Jose State. I went to San Jose, like Westfield Mall and the Santana Row. There's like this really nice street where there's a bunch of designer clothes, and there was like these. I think with both sexes, right? Because right now we're forced to be not forced, but we're isolated, and I could see it, man. Like I could see it in men and women where they're like deprived from. Because again, I think that it's like that primal, where men and women are still attracted to each other, and a lot of single men and women are just like, I don't know. I think they're trying to get on, try to get it on, but because of this whole thing, it's like it doesn't work out, and I think they're worried about getting the disease and spreading it to others, or the situation, the virus, and as I was going, like there was like this really attractive lady or woman or girl or whatever, and like I just like just so happened to cross the roads, and dude, like I don't know, I pussed out. I'll be honest, I pussed out, and I wish I could have said something, like even my fucking you see, yeah. So I pussed out. They were looking at me, and I was telling one of my coworkers that as soon as I crossed by, I mean, I'm not an ugly ass dude. I'm not like I'm not like a gorilla or some shit. But I wish I was in some ways looked like gorilla, because fucking gorillas are like, big muscles and, big ass shoulders and shit, which I don't know. But so they were looking at me. No, so as soon as I crossed by, like that, they just stood and stared at me, dude. Like I was just like a piece of meat. That's what I told them. I told my coworker, I'm like, they looked at me like I was a piece of meat. And just imagine I'm like, a little rodent, like that Ice Age, like that squirrel from Ice Age. And then like these 3-4 like lions, female lions are just like looking at it. And I was just like, me? I was like so nervous, dude. I was just like, I was like, oh, and I had to put my earphones on, because I was just like, let me get a tone from this the situation. And like, I think that's like, again, even growing up, like I think that's like my biggest like challenges, is to be more like, I don't want to say more macho, but like more confront, more confident in what I want to say or do. Because I'll be honest, like I'm not perfect. Again, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not perfect, and I hope you guys understand, because again, I think no one's perfect. The only thing we can do is to really just improve and overcome, our obstacles. And that, for me, that's like still, like one of my current and most common obstacle right now. And I think it's just not all me. I think there's a lot of guys. I'm not, like a lot of simps and shit like that. I'm not a simp. But again, like that's one failure, and that I don't want to say failure, but that's like one of my setbacks. Like not only in relationships with females, I think like even with bosses and stuff like that. Like I've always had like this issue of just like confronting them and being honest, and set forth and implying imply whatever I want to say, like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this, or I don't want to do this or that, or I don't want to work these days or hours. Like, those are like the biggest challenges, like amongst people. I think, again, that's like, I mean, the worst thing that could happen is just they say no. But I mean, I was reading a book where they're saying like that's like one of our most, the reason why we don't, some people like to be liked and some people don't. And but most of us want to be liked, because again, that's sort of a primal instinct where in order for our humanity, right? No, not humanity. For our human race to further expand and grow, had to had a, had, a, had, had to 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 uh, really work along, even their flaw, like despite their flaws and issues, we all had to get along together. Because if there's one issue, then that guy's abandoned, or they're left out of the group, and that's just not good for the person who has to defend on their own. We are social creatures and have to depend with one another. There's people that are like, hey, I don't want, I like to be on the computer all day, or I'm not a social person. I'm always on the computer. But hey, if you're on the computer, you're interacting with other social beings. If you're on Instagram and looking at people at their photos, again, that's a social. That's it. Might not be verbal, but it's visual. So we as human beings are very social creatures, whether it's visual, whether it's hearing. I'll hear a podcast when I'm bored, uh, or even physical. We see people, and we know that they're humans. You could, I mean, I think you can tell from a very long distance whether it's a human or not. Okay, but go back on to failure and setbacks. Yeah, so that's one of my biggest. That was one of my biggest, is being confrontal, or being the one who initiates. I think another challenge and setbacks that I personally have would be being more open. I think that's like the most common issue with young adults. It's just being more open, living life, because I even now, like, there's, I feel like there's some weight on people's shoulders when it comes to just being open and just being free. I think that's like one of the biggest challenges that not only young adults, but also even as an adult, is just to be you. And I definitely had that during like my middle school and high school years, where I had certain questions, and then they would laugh at it, and I was just like, it really defeats you. It's just it really hurts. And they might have not known it, that their intentions would bother you, or even hurt you. But again, they're kids, and everyone's just trying to get along and kind of ride along this wave. So yeah, I mean, that's I would say that. So being confrontal, being more open, I think those are like one of the biggest things that I've dealt with. And I think, yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest things. And I wish in our schools would help us understand more about individualism. Yeah, because I mean, I just think about like all these years and the setback. I mean, for me, school was in a way setting me back from doing like the things that I've wanted to do, or because school, don't get me wrong, it's a great platform to learn and it builds new skills. I mean, just kidding, you don't really learn that much new skills. But like in school, you learn your math, you learn English, bits of history, science, which might not relate to, I mean, school, no, but not really essential. Yeah, I mean, most of the 4 years I went to high school, I don't really apply that much to my life. Good to know. I mean, interesting. It's pretty cool to learn about chlorophyll and shit, but not really. I didn't really think it's essential to master, and that was just setting me back from learning how to be a web designer, or how to build a website, build a podcast, learn how to build clients, and set aside jobs where I can actually make a living. Because as the new generation is coming, yeah, as the new generation is coming to so it's coming. there's so much insecurity. You know, we don't know, we have no new skills that, or any skills at all. Like really, I mean, there's certain schools back in the day where they would teach you how to do carpentry or woodwork or some sort of, um, you know, mechanical, um, yeah, I mean, I wish there was more skills that you would learn hands on, like mechanical, and I mean, there were in high school, but it's just I don't think it was enough um, to really be engaged in those activities, and also it's limited. It's not. I mean, I wish you would work more on maybe even on modern cars. I know that costs money, but oh well. And right with this epidemic, yeah, good luck. Yeah, so that I mean that's a setback, and let's see what else. What other setbacks? I mean, let's see. Oh yeah, losing people. I think that's a failures. What about loss? I forgot about loss. Well, that was one of the most. That's another good one that is that we must overcome, and in order to become a better person or a better individual. Yeah, I mean, loss again, guys. I think we lose people or lose, okay, because like again, loss, man, loss. I think loss of time. I think that's the biggest one because again, in school, I lost a lot of time just not really doing that much other than getting high, but yeah, man. And I think that was yeah. So in high school, that was my biggest, like my greatest mistake as a person, where it was where like maybe during my sophomore and junior year, I think that's the biggest one. Those were like my most impactful years, not my most impactful years, but my dark years. I think in high school and as an individual, where I was just not doing well in school, and even though I was in like I was in good classes. Oh, sorry about that. I was in great classes. Like I was taking a few APs, maybe an honors class, but I just it was tough, man. It was tough. Um, yeah, and it's hard. Or at the time, I don't want to put it as a bullshit excuse, but at the time, I was taking like AP. I was taking like AP Physics, and that's just one example where I was taking classes, and I was just like, man, I don't. It was like literally like one Hispanic or two or three Hispanic. It was just one Hispanic guy, and then like maybe two or three Hispanic girls, and then the rest were like Asian or Indian, and that was just like, and like I didn't know anyone. I just couldn't relate to them. I mean, there's certain things like that, like I used to, I would talk to this one guy and he would just be talking about like CSGO, and that's like a it's a first person. Is it first? Yeah, it's a first person shooter. But other than that, I mean, and even then, I wasn't really that into playing CS:GO. But um, just relating with people who are more on the I don't want to say on the analytical, like they I don't want to say smarter kids, because again, um, yeah, I guess because again, if you're taking AP or honors, I think you're just like a better tier or upper tier, because you're learning more, doing more, and it challenges you to do more. But again, it was just like so difficult. I think that was like one of the most like, oh shit, where I was like not not I just felt so like out of the group, because again, everyone was just so different, and I was just like I'm the minority there, really. Um, yeah, and I just didn't really get along with people. Even like the teacher, I was just like, I had to go and ask another teacher for certain questions about equations, because I just couldn't really get along. Like there was a barrier blocking me. Um, so yeah, okay.
Is that a really great time? Hold on one second, guys. Okay, I had to lower that because you guys probably can hear it. Yeah, hopefully that the audio will block it, or if there's that plugin that I'll put in. Yeah, so fitting in was a challenge, and then just doing. I think I was just getting high all the time, like during junior year or sophomore year. No, junior year. Sophomore year I started. Junior year I was just like a lot with my friends and just or friends, quote unquote friends. But we were just getting getting high, and it wasn't good. I didn't really feel good the day after getting high. Like for me, smoking weed is just like one, it's a waste of money because it's a waste of money for me because again, I had no issues at the time, and I think even getting high as as a teen is not good for you. But what else is it? Yeah, okay, so it costs money, you're not being productive. It slows you down. For me, it took me like maybe 2 days to really get out of it. Like my head is just like I feel like really I don't want to be offensive, but like I just feel really autistic. Like I just can't really think about anything in general once I've done it, and yeah, I really don't feel good. But one day I just made the inevitable where I just like came one day and I was just like super high, and like I told my parents like that I was really high, and my parents like really conservative, like they just don't, they're the nudie two shoes, they're very innocent in that sort of sense. And yeah, and I just like I felt like I let them down. I was going to a road where it's like, you're not really doing anything, and it's in a way, again, you're not doing anything with it. You're just spending money and getting high, and getting high really does cost money. And if your friends want to get high, it's not good for them, but just go ahead, I guess. And then I don't know what else they want to do, because again, one leads to another thing, and I don't know. So yeah, like one day that I was with my pals, and then they just all dipped. And I had a book in my backpack that I decided to give a read because, again, I think like the day before, or 2 days before that, my dad gave me a book. And that book really helped a lot, It really changed my life. And again, I probably talked about it, which 21st Century of Business. I read the book, maybe read a couple pages, and then it kind of changed my way of viewing how life is. So I think in order to kind of change that way of thinking, sometimes you have to be in that dark, and then so it's like a cracked shell, right? So in order to really be yourself, in order to be more open, you have to kind of break that wall, that barrier that is not helping you grow and mature. And for me, that was one of them. And breaking that on me, because I basically given up on myself, helped me understand like, hey, there's more to just this in school. Because again, in school, there's what can you really do in school? There's not much you can do other than be involved in activities. And for me, it was just terrible because I wanted to be more involved. However, again, I think this is one of the biggest setbacks, was that I would have to go to school sometimes, and I would have to walk from my house to the school, and that would take about 2 hours to get there. I live on the north side of Sunnyvale, and I would have to go all the way down to the south, and that would take about 2 hours. I would have to cross the train tracks, cross a bridge, cross. So it was just, by the end of the day, I wasn't really interested in being involved in school. I just wanted to get the hell out and walk home because I know I was going to be taking a long walk. And that would be pretty much my activity at school, going to walk 2 to 4 hours sometimes at school, which I really didn't enjoy. Was I just didn't really want to be involved in school because it was so far. And I always used to complain about what if they kept Sunnyvale High School, because that school would be far better for the students that live on the north side. So that, I think that was like one of my biggest challenges, like for me, and I hated that. And so with that failure and that setback, with the giving up on myself and having to read a book, or willingly to read a book, it really gave me a new purpose and a new spectrum where there's more to life than just school and a job and living the American dream, right? So the book, I mean, if you guys haven't read it, I would definitely recommend people to read it, because again, it's a life changer. And it's not that thick of a book, but that book was so amazing, man. It's just, again, failures and setbacks and I didn't know about failures and setbacks. I think as people, we just kind of don't want to be portrayed or feel like we're failing in life. But again, it's something necessary as individuals, because again, it keeps you humbled. It helps you grow as a person. It makes you understand what not to do as a boss, as an employee, when you want to start your business. Hey, I don't want to be an asshole manager or a boss. Be empathetic with your employees. Be empathetic with your employees, because it's very hard for a lot of companies to kind of be empathetic and understand like the situations that employees face. What else? Yeah. So, or maybe even working certain hours. I mean, that's like one of the biggest things: finding out what fits your schedule and what fits their schedule. Because I had a job, and I only lasted for a couple weeks, maybe like 2 weeks, and I had to quit because I won the schedule, man. I told them, hey, I can't work these hours, and they just didn't listen. I messed up my left leg again. Now I have to go get that checked up. Maybe, hopefully I didn't tear anything. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go back and talk to you guys. I'm gonna be on a break real quick, and then we'll start again on the podcast. Okay? All right, guys.
Hello, thank you for watching the video. If you can give a like and a subscribe, that would really help out the channel. Thank you for, again, spending this time. I'm really thankful. I appreciate that you're hearing what I'm saying, and hopefully you could share it amongst your friends and family. Other than that, guys, I'm truly grateful, and it's been a blessing. Thank you so much, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, take 2. All right, and boom. Fuck it, guys. All right, so we were just talking about the loss, failure, and setbacks just now, and I was talking about employees and why failures and losses and setbacks are a better way to it's a good thing to overcome and to fully understand in order to become a better person and better individual, better boss, better, just better. So I think I was talking about why losses and failures and setbacks are sort of necessary for them to happen. So again, I think I was talking about how bosses. Okay, so it's great to have setbacks, failures, and things, because it helps you grow in order to become a better boss, about how to understand your employees or employers, and maybe even apply that to relationships with investors, with relationships, with friends, family, all that stuff. Um, I think loss, failure, and setbacks. There was a point in time where I didn't really have that much money. I didn't have any money at all, and that really helped me understand. During high school, reading those books, I read another book, Se llama Se Habla de Dinero, wonderful lady who read it, who not met, read it, who made it, and they helped me with understanding about personal finance and investing and how to build a business. Robert talked about that, but I think she talked about more about the personal finance. And have I applied? Have I used it? Yes, I've used most of what she's talked about, building, with checking accounts, all that stuff. I mean, she's again that book. That book is really old now. I don't know if you guys can find it, but if you guys can, give it a read, man. It's a really wonderful book. And if you have relatives who don't know how to speak it, I know I'm promoting her book. I think I promoted her on the last one, but just something great about that book that I really enjoyed about. And again, if you have any relatives who speak Spanish or read it, and they also want to be involved in that sort of thing, Se Habla Dinero is a wonderful book. It goes on English and Spanish. One side's in English, one side's Spanish. One page will be in Spanish. On the other side of the page will be in English. So you guys, and it'll be on the same. You guys will be on the same level because again, whatever she's reading on this side will be exactly on this side. So it's a wonderful book, and it gives kind of even playing field for both parents who may not necessarily speak English. So you can give this to your grandma. You can give this to your father and mother, cousin who just came here. So fantastic book. And so failures and setbacks again. Sorry about that. So that was like my greatest failure, right? And reading that book helped me understand like there's more to work, being an employee, being the 9-to-5 guy. There's more to it. Because again, I think when I talk to people like when I was working there, I was asking one guy like, "Hey, what do you want to be?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm like," he told me he wanted to become a psychologist or a social worker. No. So his degree, I think he wanted to go to. He's moving, and then he wanted to go get a degree in sociology or some shit like that. But if you're being honest with yourself, man, is it something you want to do? You've never been in that field. You've had no sort of and as a first generation, right? You're telling yourself like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But how do you know you want to do it if you've never done it? If you've never had some sort of internship with it, you've never volunteered, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But a majority of people who, again, first generation, I'm only speaking I'm speaking for myself because I see it with a lot of people. They want to be something that they don't know anything about. They've never been involved around it. They've never lived it. They've never, they just say it with no real emphasis as to why. I wanted to become a lawyer. I wanted to help, again, the fight against the big man, with whether it's, again, I think in my head, right, I wanted to help people who couldn't really help themselves. But when it came to the reality of it, it sucks for me. It's, again, I can't work in an office. I just learned that I can't work in an office. I've had an internship at I don't say where. I just didn't enjoy it because I was in an office all day.
And I just like to be somewhere where I can do whatever I want, say whatever I want, and not give a rat's ass as to why I'm doing it, you know? So, okay, so I wanted to become a lawyer, but again, I've never been around uh, that environment. I've never truly understood what I wanted to do. I mean, there's so many things into being a lawyer. Do you want to be a family lawyer? Do you want to be a criminal, civil? I mean, there's just marriage, there's that. Um, there's so many things that, I think it's family lawyer. But there's so many things. So again, there's really something I really want to do for 40 years and do it as a career. Probably not. And I said, hey, like, and the books really kind of emphasize what do you want to do in some way or another. They try to kind of really open that, like, what do you want to do? Because again, nobody really knows what they want to do until they've really gone into it and truly be involved in it. I've had aunts who want to become a doctor. Yeah, I had family. I've had members in the family who wanted to become a doctor, didn't end up being a doctor due to seeing how gross and how nasty and filthy it can get with dealing with people, right? We're sewing them up, we're cutting we're moving certain organs or things like that, and it's just, she says she can't really deal with it. We're dealing with blood. Blood could be really dramatic to the eye or to our psyche, right? Seeing blood in general. I mean, you can see, you could bleed a little bit and it looks like you're dying, I get a nosebleed and I get so paranoid, just, like, I almost passed out one time just looking at blood. No joke. I was getting my, because I guess as you get older, instead of, they don't do the finger anymore. They get the syringe and they put it on your artery over here. And I wasn't even like thinking about, I was just like, it's in every, I didn't care about the taking of my blood, but for some reason, and I didn't even think about it. Like, I just, I was just like, talking, yada, yada, yada. And then the lady comes, she's like, okay, we're going to do it now. And they do it. And, I'm like, it's okay. Nothing's happening. But then I turn around to see what's going on. And as soon as she put in the syringe, piercing the skin, man, it looked like, how would I say it? I don't know how or why I almost passed. Okay, I passed out. I almost passed out. But the way that the blood just kind of oozed out of my body into that syringe, it didn't look like honey, but it looked like, how do I say it? It looked like, it just looked something really weird, like not natural. And it just squirted like, and as soon as I saw that, as soon as I was done, I stood up and like, I just didn't really, I felt really like I was losing my breath. And then I felt like, and then I was about to fall. And then my mom and because this was when I was young too. I was like maybe 17 or 18, I think. And I almost fell. But luckily they were there, so they got me before I fell and ate shit on the floor. I'm like, so they grabbed me and I was just like, man. And like they're like, rest, take a breather, start giving me beverages to drink, which was, nice of them, to care about me. But okay, so now I know, hey, I can't deal with blood. Or maybe if I see it too, like if I see it often, like, very often, I think I would be okay with it. But for me, I know like this is not something I can do. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with blood just oozing out. And imagine if you had to open somebody up. Jesus, man, just gonna be a shit show. So yeah, I can't be a lawyer. I can't be I don't want to say surgeon, but someone who had to open up. And okay, so yeah, with failures and setbacks, we don't know about the industry, we don't know about the job, we don't know. So for people, I think I would say be involved in that activity. Right now with the coronavirus and everything, we can't really be out. So yeah, good luck with that. And due to the financial situation, we don't know if we're going to be recovering. People in Congress are trying to find out how can we solve it. The president, I don't know what he's doing. But again, we're just trying to see what we can say, because right now we're a plane that's about to crash, right? And what people in Congress are doing basically is trying to throw out as much luggage as they can in order for us to not to crash. They just want to throw as much as they can in order for us to kind of swiftly or gracefully just kind of almost hit it, preventing us from hitting it, and just hopefully, I think that's the idea, is to gradually go back up, right? Hopefully rise in our altitude. It's kind of a metaphor for our economy, right? So our economy right now is just kind of, it's dipping and dipping and dipping, and we don't want it to just fully crash. What we want, I think, people in Congress and people like me, I hope that Congress right now are just kind of swiftly and hopefully gradually they'll figure out a law that will hopefully help us, go back into a stable economy where jobs are being put back. I was hearing a company or a business of a particular bakery that had been there for almost 33 years, and they're about to be closing because of the coronavirus. I guess they couldn't pay the bills or something like that, and they couldn't pay their employees, and now they're going out of business. So for 33 years, that's a lot, man. 33 years. And just like that, an economy can just go down into a shit show. And just like that, you're out of business, lost jobs, employees. And if you're the boss, hopefully you have some sort of savings where you had some money, and hopefully you could start some sort of other business, or maybe just save until the economy gets better, and then hopefully invest in a business or retire, because I don't know how long they've been there. Yeah, guys. So we're talking about and so this company has been, again, for 33 years. It's been, and now sadly it's going to be closing. So, and where I work, or where I am working, because I'm working back because of the stages thing. California now is on stage 2. The business that I work for is now back. However, you can tell something is wrong. Not a lot of people are buying. I don't want to say what industry I work for or what company I work for, but the company that I work for, typically there was a lot of customers, and this was a weekend job. So usually on the weekends, it's really productive because people are typically not working on the weekends, or not a lot of people are working on the weekends. And so not a lot of what was I talking about? Okay, I forgot. Not a lot of companies. Oh yeah, okay. So not a lot of people are buying right now, and the industry that I work for, typically there's a lot of buyers and sellers, and you can see it on the road because we have a view where you can see the whole road, and this road particularly gets really busy on the weekends too. You could see it now where it's just not doing good. The roads are empty. They're not fully empty, but they were busy, but just not to the level they are right now. And this product that they're selling particularly is not a necessity, and people are scared. They don't know what's going to be happening.
So I think, and I don't know what's going to be happening. So I'm gonna be saving my money. I think most people will be saving their money, hopefully. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure uh, about how the industry is going to be going for the next couple of years, because again, this is affecting not only uh, it's affecting everyone. People are getting laid off like left and right, and we don't know how and again, this was a setback even for me. I really wanted to do a lot of things once this was gone, or before it even happened. I remember telling myself like, I'm gonna go into therapy. I'm gonna try MDR therapy, see how that's gonna be helping, because I've heard from a lot of comedians and podcasters that a good way to help yourself is try that out. Veterans try it, and a lot of people who have like um, personal issues and mental issues, they'll try that out. And I said, hey, let me try it out. Get a massage. Get rid of the stress hormone, the cortisol, and get a massage. There's a study that says that when you get massaged and the oil and the physical touching, that releases a chemical called serotonin, which is like the feeling, the good feeling, right? That good. And it feels good getting massage too, helps ease the muscles. And again, it releases chemicals in your brain that makes you feel good. And I want to try comedy. A lot of podcasters are comedians that I know of are comedians, and they say like a great way to learn about how to build a podcast, build better relationships, really, is to truly be around environments that will help you laugh. Because again, when you're laughing and you're happy, because laughing equates, happiness, right? People are laughing, people are happy, people are enjoying the time that they are with the people around them, especially in a comedy club. After you're having a few drinks, maybe they're even giving you out food, and you're probably with someone like with a friend or a partner, and it's just good vibes. Good vibes. Just having just talking and just really enjoying one another's in a time where things like that, I think, are really under I don't say understood, misunderstood. Because not a lot of people are happy, and a lot of people are just miserable. And I think I was miserable, and I said, hey, like, let's try these things out and hopefully see if there's some sort of reaction with that, with my brain and all that stuff, and see what kind of outcome there is when I try these things. So, or maybe I couldn't even find a job there. Who knows? And or even interview comedians. I would love to interview comedians, see how they talk and what they got to say, what their life and all that stuff. So yeah, but however, that couldn't really happen because of the coronavirus. That all went down the fucking drain once the city implied it, and how global this thing went on, and how it's still ongoing. Stadiums. I mean, this is, again, guys, like, this is affecting everyone. Like, stadiums, they're like, okay, so the sports. I was just hearing John Oliver talk about sports and how impactful that is for the economy, right? Empty seats. Those deal with a couple hundreds of thousands of dollars just vacated, that are empty. Food, all that stuff. Those companies that are involved in that stadium, taco trucks, merchandise, food service, all that stuff. Like, all those employees, the valets or the valets or whatever. Those people, people that are registering the tickets, that are giving out the tickets, that there's prizes and all that stuff. Like, those people are like the ones that are affected because they're not working, And who knows? Who knows if they're going to be able, if they're even willing to go back or they're going to come back with the economy. I mean, those I think will come back because, again, I think those are things that are highly valued. But the people, I think that's what we're talking about. The people, like what is going on with them and how are they going to survive in a situation where we still don't know what's going on, what's happening, and if it's going to be solvable in this month, in next month, in the month after that month, or even a year. How's it going to be in December, dude? Like that's like the biggest thing. Like December, not the biggest thing, but like December, New Year's. Like how are we gradually transforming into a society where everyone's wearing masks and shit like that, or is it that where people are going like hugs and touches, kisses, and all that stuff? Is that going out of the window, or is it going to go back? Oh, I'm hoping that we can go back to the way it was, because I have no idea what's going to go on. Other than just keeping my sanity, because I'm mostly at home. And sometimes it gets boring just being at home. But also, or maybe you're a single family, single child. That could be lonely. But how others are going to be doing, I wish I could have talked to those girls. Maybe I'll see them at a club or something. Oh, wait, that's closed. So can't. Yeah. So so I think those were my current setbacks and failures. Setbacks would probably be another like jobs that I've applied for that I was guaranteed and then turns out I didn't, or it just wasn't. Yeah, I mean those are things that I've definitely had and just nope. And failures, I've had a bunch. So yeah, the only thing is to just overcome them, really not take it personal. I used to be a really personal person, but not anymore. I just, again, those books, and they kind of keep you at another level, thinking less of what people think and more about what you want to do, what makes you and keeps you happy, and really just being yourself in a society where I think that's hard to be, right? Being yourself. I'm in a society where, I mean, like it's becoming more popular, right? With like the LGBT, which, good for them. They're being themselves and being, who they want to be. Good for them. Really, I'm happy for them. But I think as an individual, that's like certain interests, hobbies, activities, opinions, tastes, that can be hard to come by. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that'll be all for the podcast. Hopefully I'll be putting this video out soon. Just give it a subscribe or follow the playlist. I'm going to be hopefully distributing this more to other platforms soon. So thank you for your time. Much love, guys, and take it easy. Bye-bye. Okay, there you go. I just had to clap it because I don't know I just had to sync it because there's different, you get what I mean. All right, guys.